Lighten Up podcast with Lauren Polly, your invitation for living on the lighter side of life. I'm Lauren Polly, and I am delighted you have chosen to join me for episode 215, Support Systems. We're going to chat today about fostering a sense of support, being able to actually have that no worry zone, no effort zone, and really just letting the sense of sustainability come into your life in all different areas. I think so often we just think our support system comes from the people in our lives, our family, our friends. We don't ever really look at our life's work as a support system, your career or your business. We don't look at our finances a lot of times as a support system, supporting your life, your living, and your creation. And also your own relationship with yourself, your inner dialogue, your headspace, your connection to your body as being a support system too. We go a little too shallow with this conversation, and just the conversations I've been having lately with people in my business, they've been feeling a little bit kind of like in the middle of turmoil or upheaval, especially with all the stuff that's going on in the world right now with the political stuff and the pandemic and the civil unrest. There's just a lot of change. And a lot of times people have a negative association with change, especially when it's not something you're personally choosing. Feels like it's something being done to you. I totally get it. But at the same time, when you have those big moments of change, self-chosen or not, it gets really easy to feel unsupported. And again, that sustainability, that sense of like, you know what, I've got enough, I'm okay, and there's more coming. And what I've created will continue to grow. A lot of times during times like this of great change, we get a bit rocked, and it doesn't really feel like we have that support and that sustainability. So I was out walking today. It's a beautiful morning here in Southern California. It's been like a kiss of early fall the last couple of days. It's been gorgeous. So I went out this morning just to enjoy it and say hi to some of the big trees in the park over here by my apartment. It's fascinating. There was one that I've always loved to sit under. It's about almost 4 or 5 stories tall. But today was the very first day that I actually noticed its roots growing up and kind of bubbling above the surface of the ground before it dove back down again. And I sat down for a little while on its roots and kind of traced it. I was kind of sensing into how deep those roots must go in order to have that tree have such sustainability, such longevity, and also such strength and beauty to be able to stand so tall. And that's really where this conversation is coming from. There's this sense, and you can think about a tree that you enjoy, and maybe an exercise this week is to go take a walk by some bigger trees so you can sense into this for yourself. But really being able to kind of see, wow, to be that tall, to be that strong, and to really have that longevity and that health and that vitality to be able to do that, how deep do those roots go? How wide does that support go? And it's fascinating just being able to tap into that energy and to really sense into it. It goes very, very, very deep. And so much of us, what we're creating has a little bit of a depth to it, but I don't think it's as deep as we're actually capable of. I was listening to a dating coach recently, and he was talking about the problem with a lot of first dates is people don't actually talk about what they care about. They kind of sit on the surface. They kind of go back and forth. And he wasn't even talking about playful banter or flirting. It was just this sense of, you meet somebody new, and how often do you actually say what's true for you? Say what you actually care about to see if there's a deeper connection. And a lot of times in our relationships, even with our family, our friends, it can sit on the surface level for a while. We have a hard time reaching out for support sometimes. We have a hard time like diving in and actually exposing that soft underbelly to the people around us, for whatever reason or whatever point of view. Maybe this week, this would be a great opportunity to have a deeper conversation with somebody, not paint a smile on your face if there's not one that's there. Also, not to shove a smile down either if your soul is like so super happy and super delightful right now. I think sometimes we shove down our own bigness and our own brightness because we don't want to make other people uncomfortable, or we don't want them to judge us, or heaven forbid, the big one is we're happy and they're not, and therefore we kind of amplify them feeling bad about themselves. That's their choice, and that's their choice to function from there. That's not actually yours. So, not really being open and present and deep and honest in that moment really does have a huge impact on our relationships, keeps them on the surface level, and before you know it, that sustainability, that longevity, and the health of that organism isn't as big, isn't as sustainable as it could possibly be. So I invite you to this week to not only take a walk and visit a tree like I did this morning, but also take a deeper walk with someone in your life and just see if you start to feel more supported and start to sense into the ability for that relationship to continue to grow and to expand. Especially if you haven't had a heart to heart with one of the people in your life for a while. Now may be a great time for it. Let's kind of like tap into what we can actually do with our finances with this topic as well. As I said at the beginning of the show, it's not just about the people that give you support and that allow your life to be healthy and sustainable and to really give you longevity and success in any certain area. That support system really comes from your conscious choices to go deep and to actually engage with things that will create for you now and into the future. And a lot of times, the way that we are spending our money doesn't really do that. Just like our relationship conversation from a few minutes ago, where we don't really talk about things that we care about with the people. We stay on the surface. We're not honest with our desires and our kind of our sense of that moment. It's the same thing that we do with our money a lot of times. We are a bit more on the surface. We don't spend our money on what we care about. We don't have a really clear vision of, oh, money is this for me, and this is kind of what I'd like to grow in the future, and make conscious choices towards that. And a lot of times we just get filled up by buying kind of the splurgy item or the splashy item. It's kind of a fascinating way that this world functions with money, where people aren't really looking at the deeper choice that they have with it. I read a wonderful book. It's called Smart Women Finish Rich by David Bach, I believe, is the author. And it was fascinating because he talked a lot about specifically women, but this can apply to caring, heart-centered men as well. Being able to really look at what you truly desire in your life. What are your priorities? What are the things that actually make your life worth living? And then developing a financial plan around that. And then from there, making choices with your money to actually feed the promise, feed the potential and the possibility. Don't feed the beast. So being able to actually go, my goal would be to travel. That's like my ultimate way of lifestyle, is to be able to travel here, there, and everywhere. Well, if that's my goal, and if I start making financial choices that lead to that being more easeful for me, does that actually bring in more of a sense of support for your vision of your future? More of a sense of support for your desires, and also kind of an accessibility that starts to open with it as well. Some people, their biggest desire is to really have a vacation home, and beyond the owning of the property, it's the sense, it's the energy, and it's the possibilities that come with it. Time away with your family, adventure without the sense of work in the way, and a little escape that's just yours. Dig a little bit deeper with these. Like, truly, if you could have anything in your future. And by that, I actually mean like finances, and then also the things in your life, like houses, cars, being able to really like retire early, any of those things that pop. What are the deeper desires that go with it? Again, don't sit on the surface. Actually go deeper to what you're asking for. And from there, tap into how sustainable and how much support you feel right now towards that goal. And perhaps this is a great conversation, just like that tree that has to go deep and wide to really have health and sustainability. Now may be a great chance to be able to start moving things around so that when you spend your money or when you invest your money, you're doing it in a way that actually supports the future that you'd like to have. Same thing goes with your career, your business, your life's work. A lot of us are really involved in projects and jobs that are so rote at this given second, so on the surface, that they really aren't feeding into a creation of the future. You may be a bit dead end, you may be a bit plateaued, perhaps your business has gone a little bit quiet or stagnant. What if now is the time to shake it up? Now that we're going through all this kind of like not self-chosen change, but everything is just changing around us, what if this was a time to actually dig deep into again those desires and being able to not only get clear on what that is, but what your choice could be to actually have sustainability and support along the way with that? Being able to practice pruning, so to speak, where just like that tree has to have the dead stuff cut off occasionally so that new growth can occur. Same thing with this. You may actually have to cut some things out to be able to make space and make room for new growth to occur. That's not a bad thing. That's not a wrong thing. That is something that's required in nature, and quite frankly, it's something that's required a lot in our life path as well. There may have been some things during this time that have been pruned for you, depending on your current circumstance. But what if you actually take this time of change to dig a little bit deeper and actually start to explore what could be taken out, what could be grown anew, and also perhaps what could be reinvested in? Where can you actually take something you love and go, I've gotten really stale with this. I've gotten a bit bored and I haven't really engaged to the depth of it. What if now could be a chance to be able to plant your roots down deeper, spread a bit wider, and again, allow all of that to continue to grow so that your future can get brighter and bigger as a result of it? Your finances, your life's work, the things that you do day in, day out, the things that you surround yourself with, the property, the things of like physicality in our world, and then of course also the people in it too. All of these things are elements of living. They are elements of life creation, and they are just that. They're creative things that continue to ebb and flow. But a lot of us create something and then we kind of hit the autopilot button, and before you know it, we're just going. And what that autopilot does is it bops us right back up to the surface. And then what happens? The further that we go, the more time that passes. Not only do we get bored and a bit stale and stagnant, but we also have a deeper sense of there must be something more that I don't have, but you can't really put your finger on it. And what follows after that is actually this feeling of being unsupported and unsustainable. Like there's something that's not quite right, but you can't really figure it out and you're a bit confused onto where to go. A lot of times that's just superficial living. That's autopilot checkout and lack of creative presence. It also can be some things that are in your life that are no longer serving you, but you haven't had the presence of mind and the courage to actually prune that thing away and go, you know what, this is old and it's not really lending itself to the future that I desire. So there's a lot of beautiful lessons in this episode. Again, all from this beautiful, beautiful eucalyptus tree that I was playing with this morning. I invite you get out in nature a little bit, visit a garden. If you can find a really delicious, mature old tree, go sit underneath it for a little while and start to tap into the elements of your life, your relationship with yourself, your self-development. Have you gone as deep as you would like to go with that? Your finances. Do you know what you desire to create financially? Are you making choices that are in line with that? Look at your relationships. Which ones have gone stagnant, stale, or popped up to the surface? Where just one conversation, diving a little bit deeper, not shoving your smile down and also not painting a smile on if you don't have one, will actually lend to more of a sense of support and being seen and being heard. And where can your life's work, your business, your creative pursuits, your jobs actually come off rote autopilot and the old way of being and come into something new and fresh and vital and valuable, allowing it to just continue to grow and evolve from there. This is a delicious energy. I hope you can just tap into the sense of peace and lack of worry and lack of struggle and lack of judgment that is in this conversation. There is more of a relaxed quality and really a, you know what? I've got this. No matter what, I'm good. I've got this. And I have chances and choices and possibilities right now to make it even better, no matter where I am and no matter what kind of pickle I've gotten myself into. There's always hope for more. Have an amazing week. Let me know how this episode goes. Again, you can reach out at lauren@laurenpolly.com. If you'd like some one-to-one assist with this, go ahead and apply for a one-to-one sit-down with me on that same site, laurenpolly.com. Have an amazing week, and I will chat with you next Tuesday.